Hey everyone, what is up? Welcome back to the series on how to build threads from scratch. In the last couple of episodes, we went through the different functionality of creating this little pop-up post modal with accessing the photo library, the camera, the Giphy library. The last one we added location. This one we're going to add back or go back to the voice recording functionality. So let's just jump into it real quick. So just for a little bit of background, there is a couple different libraries in Expo that you could use to record audio. Prior to Expo 50 SDK 52, which we actually updated in the middle of this tutorial, so I do want to touch upon it. They released two different versions of Expo Audio and Expo Video, which were previously part of the same Expo AV library. So you can still use Expo AV if you wanted to. And in a previous setup for this tutorial, I actually did use Expo AV. But since we're now updated, I wanted to look into the Expo Audio version. Because by the time this tutorial goes out, I just wanted to be ahead of new technology and try to test this out in production. Also, it's a lot cleaner in the way that they use hooks. Like they have this useAudioPlayer, useAudioRecorder. So it's also a lot cleaner and easier to get up and running. And it's not bundling in the video library, which we're not even going to use in this tutorial. So it's also a smaller library, which is good for bundling your app and uploading to the App Store. So first thing we're going to do is just copy mbx expo install expo audio. And of course, let's make sure the app isn't running. And of course, just like any other native functionality, we're going to have to add a plugin to our app.json or app.json, app config are the same files. So we're going to have to add this expo audio to be able to ask for microphone permission. So let's go to, app.json. So far, we have Expo Router, Expo Camera, Expo Image Picker, Expo Location, Expo Audio. Or instead of just regular Expo Audio, we're going to put in microphone permission, allow whatever the product name is to access your microphone to create voice recordings. And then we're going to start again. And then let's go back down to the example. Also, the example is a little bit more straightforward. If you go into the Expo AV one, it almost has too much functionality, and so they can't even give examples for each one. The example they have is just playing sounds and then recording sounds. So you have to ask for permissions, set audio async to allow recording, and then get the recording with create async. But for Expo Audio, it's a little bit more straightforward. So we just use this useAudioPlayer hook and then import it. And then we could play a sound right away. That's three lines of code to play a sound. And then to record one, we're going to import some useAudioRecorder. Again, it's a hook. So it's just one line of code. We define a record function, a stop recording function, and then, of course, the ability to, just like we did with the camera in the photo library, we have to get permission. But, of course, since we're in dev, it's not going to ask for it. It's going to give us it automatically. And start and stop recording. So what we want to do is actually combine these two examples. So we want to be able to start and stop recording, but then be able to listen to our recording before we post it or attach it to a post. First thing we're going to do is actually, let's put the UI for the recording. There is the ability to get metering from audio, which is the ability to I don't know if you see in Spotify or WhatsApp or your iOS messages app. If you record a voice recording, it shows, I guess, different decibel levels, and it visualizes that with different lines of higher and lower. I don't want to get too in-depth into that because then you'd have to create a new model for audio. I actually want to cover that in a different tutorial. I think I'm going to do Spotify as the next one. And then we'll get real in-depth into audio and playback material and showing that metering based on how high or low the audio is. Instead, we're just going to use this audio lines to make it look nicer. And then also use the play pause button. I think there's a play circle. Maybe not. A play pause button. And let's get that set up real quick. So it's probably easier for me to just show you instead of trying to explain it poorly. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a new component. So this is going to be different than the other tutorials where we created new routes for camera and Giphy and location. We just want to show it inline here. So this is going to be a little bit different. So we're going to do create, let's do audio.tsx. And let's just copy and paste a basic component. We're not going to need, it's not a full component, so we don't need to put a safe area view. H stack. And I just want to show this in the UI for right now. So we're going to import it into card. Although audio, it's a bad naming because maybe it's fine. We might have to change it if I know on Expo AV they define audio, so that's why I say it would be a bad naming. But I guess for now it's okay. So import audio from /audio, and we want to just put it below. I think we want to put it just right below the text. Okay, so right now we have photo. So what we're going to do is actually show, we're not going to allow both a photo and audio because it's going to use the same file key value pairing. So if we record an audio file, we're actually going to store it on the same file key here instead of creating a separate one. So that's why we just rename this key file, just so it could take in any type of file, whether it's a MP4, M4A, which is audio, JPEG, PNG, GIF. It shouldn't matter. And we could do the same thing with storing it in Supabase. Let's reload this. Okay, so we got background with full rounded, full. Yeah. Height 10 with 10. No, we don't want that. I'm going to replace this H stack again. And then I want to use a play pause button. So right now we're just going to pass in on record. Let's just do play actually. Oh, here we go. Circle play. That's what I wanted. Import a circle play from Lucid. And replace this circle play. Don't need the text anymore. There we go. And then I want to do this audio lines to fake the look. I'll be honest, it's definitely faking it. Let's do a couple. See, it doesn't look bad. Don't judge me. I mean, maybe instead of just repeating the same thing, I could just do and just change the amount of honestly, I like it. I'm not gonna lie. It's better than I thought it was gonna look. Okay, so let's make sure it is centered. And since we made it smaller, maybe we want to do 11. Definitely not 111. Dude, I don't know. I think that looks pretty good. 28. Okay. Maybe too much padding. Okay. And then, so right now everything is black. You could do it like change the color based on whether it's recording versus playing. And then in the future, I'm going to like actually progress through each one of these so you need to know how long it is. Right now, we could just show the length of it. But this is what I wanted. So let's just create a UI like const playing is playing react dot. And then maybe if it's playing, but we also need a button too, obviously. Let's do, yeah, pressable works. Import it from React Native. Okay. So this is just going to change the state. This isn't actually doing anything, but at least this is the functionality that we want. Maybe circle play, do the fill red? No, never mind. I wanted to see if I could do the inside of this play button to fill, but that might be a little, need some custom work. But for right now, it's what I was going for. And then if we, so now we want to be able to show and hide this based on this clicking of this mic button. So what we want to do is, of course, add another pressable event. And it's not set playing, but we can do const show audio. And then in here, we only want to show this if show audio is true. And then be able to toggle it back and forth. So showing it. Okay. There we go. So now we want to actually make this do something. So we're going to go back to our actual recording functionality. So let's go back to Expo AV, Expo Audio. We already added our plugin. So we have no audio source. In this example, they're not even importing audio source. So right now, we don't have any audio source to play. So we actually want to do the recording functionality first. So let's just copy and paste this audio, import that. So use recorder, use audio recorder, audio module, recording presets. We might not even use all of them. Let's copy this functionality. Okay, so we're going to, cannot find audio recorder. Did you mean use audio recorder? Oh, I didn't import this one. That would help. Okay, we're going to define audio recorder with the use audio recorder hook and the recording presets of high quality. And we have this record function. The recording will be available on audiorecorder.uri. Okay, I'll just keep that there for now. And then I want to abstract the permissions. Audio permissions. So there is this use audio permission, but I think it's from Expo AV. So we do want to use this one instead. So get permission. That makes more sense, actually. Async, and then audio module. So we're going to do the same thing up here. Request if it's not granted, then let the user know it's not granted. And then on load, I want to call the get permission. And let's put that up here. There we go. Okay, so now cannot find Okay, so we ran into the error of Expo audio not found, and I did actually have to take a break to actually look into the error, and it turns out, oh, it's even warning us down here, and it turns out that you can't use Expo audio in Expo Go just yet, and this is as of 2 weeks ago. Even, I think Brett also pointed out that it should be in the documentation, but it is not there yet. Hopefully by the time you look into this, it is in the documentation at least, or it can be used in Expo Go. That's partly on me for using a beta library, but also a good learning point because we are able to use it still, but what you have to do is run instead of npx expo start-c, which will run in Expo Go, you have to do npx expo run :ios. And what this does is installs the iOS and Android packages, or I guess since we did iOS, it's only the iOS packages. So you'll see that we have this iOS folder here because it builds it and then we run it locally. So this is more what the environment would look like if you were on a device itself. When you were to build, let's say you were to build this application without having to run npx expo run :ios, when you push up the EAS, you have EAS build, and it actually builds this file itself, but it just never puts it locally. So we're just going to build it locally and then run it locally. One change we do want to make, though, is make sure that this folder is in git ignore, because we don't really want to commit it, because we still want Expo to handle the build process, and we could just run it locally. So this is why the question of should I use Expo or React Native is a moot point, because you could just start to run Expo like we did, and if there's a native module that you need to use, you could just run pre-build. So you could run npx expo run pre-build, which would create both folders of iOS and Android, but just running npx expo run :ios, which I will also add to the folder as well. npx expo run :ios or natively. Okay, so let's go back here and then actually try to run a recording. So right now we have the function record and then audio recording. So let's see, you know what, let's just see what this logs. So we have it running. Let's see if it's still, oh, it does work. So it's funny because it's still saying error cannot find native module expo audio, but then it is recording false. Oh, recording false because we're just logging it. We don't have anything to call record right now. Let's just put, so set playing. Let's change this to start recording. And then instead you do maybe you want to change this to recording and then set recording. So if it's recording, you want to show this circle stop button. If it's not recording, because play assumes that you're playing a file and not recording. And then let's just do fill red. And then, okay, so it logs, it's logging audio recorder, which is not recording. And then it is recording. And then let's stop it. And, okay, recording, stop. Then we get the URI. Okay, now we have this URI. Let's see if we can, so now we want to set the URI. And then if audio URI. Let's do we could do if URI. So now we want to play and pause it. So we want to do const playing. And then we want to be able to do play audio. So let's go back to use, so the audio source. So it's not clear what audio source is here. If it's just a, or maybe it is just a string. That would be convenient if so. So if it's playing, you want to do player dot, I think it's player dot play with brackets. And then maybe player dot stop. I am assuming a lot right now. So playing sounds. So audio recording. Okay, dot pause. It should work for now. So is playing circle pause and then circle play. All right, let's just try this again. Honestly, you probably want to consolidate these, but to separate what we're trying to do here, I think it makes it more clear for right now. Okay, so recording, stop. And then we want to be able to play. So now it's playing this play button. Ooh, invalid. Calling play function has failed. Okay, so now we got the error of it not being able to play audio, and that's because it was a local file. And so I actually imported a MP3 to check to see, is this just the file issue or is this just an actual recording issue? So I just imported this actual file from a test MP3. So what we do is pause, pause, and of course nothing is actually recording. So all it does is recording and then stop. It should show the play button, this, and replace it with audio URI. Okay, what we actually want is this audio URI to be our local one, but just to make sure this works with a regular audio file, let's do recording, blah, 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 stop, and then play. And so it is playing. And the difference between this file and the one that we're recording is that it's a local file. So what we want to do instead, we have to eventually upload this file to Supabase anyway. So we're just going to do it here. So once it stops recording, let's upload the file. And remember, we need the ID of the post, the audio recording URI, which is a local URI, the type, and then the name of the file. So right now we just have audio.m4a, and we're going to want to update this for sure because this will only allow us to only ever have one audio file in our Supabase user account. But let's try this again. And then recording, record. Hello, hello, hello. Stop. And of course not working. So let's see what we're getting back from the file. Record. Okay, duplicates, resource already exists. Oh, exactly. Okay, so this audio file is erroring out because it already exists. So what we want to do, we can't even get past the first step. So obviously it worked once, but since the name is just audio, Okay, it worked. So let's use this. Let's do the same thing we did in the card. Create a UUID from crypto. Oh, I put that in post provider. At this point, I keep forgetting where I put stuff. So let's import it. And then instead of audio, let's do crypto.randomuUID and then get that path. We're going to log the file path. Let's try this one more time. Recording, stop. We're logging upload file. Okay, no error this time in the full path. The path is M4A. Let's check to see our database or our bucket to see if it uploaded. Yes. Okay, that worked. Let's remove this just so it's not confusing. So this is the audio file. So then we want to take that path, which is that UID we just created. And then the path would be the bucket name. This is the user ID of the nut bucket and then the file. So that should be right. So it should set the audio. Let's do let URL equal, just so we get log the URL. So it's upload file. Is it not getting returned? Let's do let file name. And then you do file name here instead. I wonder if it's just not getting to this step. File, we'll wait. I wonder if it's just taking a while. Very well might be. Hello world. Interesting. Okay, there's the file, and then there we go. Okay, so now that we actually got it to play, let's try to test audio. Create a post about it, and then post it. Of course, failing row because of user ID. Seems like that happens quite often. For some reason, our user ID isn't getting passed through all the time. Maybe it's just because we're testing. Okay, we have it. Delay. I had testing. Post. Yeah, see, I didn't make any changes and it worked that time. Okay, so now we have testing, but it accounts for a space, but that's not what we want to show. So we want to be able to pass in an audio URI to be able to show it here. So I want to use this same component. And then maybe we're going to pass in URI. That is a string. And it's optional. And then you do URI set audio URI. So we want to be able to pass it through. You can remove this test MP3. And then in the card, show audio. So this is going to be the actual view. So that's not where we want to go to home. This view. Okay, so we want to import this same audio. Yes, there we go. So let's just use that screens post audio. And then we could put, where do we put it? So we have item.file. So we want to only show the image if it's a, yeah. So here we go. We have the file, but we want to differentiate between the two. So what's the best way of doing this? For right now, to get it working, we could do split image URL. Const file type. File that type equals. So we know the file type of the audio, so we could do file type. There's a lot of different types that could be for the image. You can see PNG, JPEG with an E, and then also Giphy, which is not accounting for. But for the audio, it's always going to be M4A. So when you do this, otherwise, show this image. Better, but now so we also want to do if file or item.file. Actually, you know what? Sorry. And yeah, there we go. Okay. So if there's a file and the file type equals M4A, then show the audio. If there's a file and the file type isn't M4A, then show an image. Otherwise, don't show anything. So we have 3 examples here. And we don't want to be able to record here. So what we want to do is pass in the URI. And this is going to be the item.file. So let's reload this again. Okay, let's try this one last time. Okay, there we go. And then we do a recording. Hello. It gets uploaded. There we go. Okay, there we go. That was a very long, convoluted way of getting our audio to work. So now you can clean this up, restrict this length, make it a little bit shorter. And then we also want to come back and fix the play pause thing. It works on the first load, but it looks like you have to do like player dot reload or something to reload the file and then to be able to play again. But we got all the basic functionality. We're able to upload an audio file to our bucket and store it just like so now we can see we have audio files in here. We got GIFs, and actually that's it for right now. But then we could upload any type of file in here, whatever it may be. So it really works for a lot of different things. In the next episode, we're going to go over the final boss of hashtags, which actually is the most custom solution we'll have because of the way you could hashtag inside of a comment and bold it. So that'll be the last feature of our post, and then we're going to start filling in the rest of our functionality from search, likes, and profile. But the rest of that should be pretty straightforward to have everything in the main post ready to go. So I hope you join me for the next one, and see you next time. Peace.